Growth is fundamental to a business survival. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, approximately 20% of new businesses fail during the first 2 years of being open, 45% during the first 5 years, and 65% during the first 10 years. Those numbers are generally consistent across most industries, but they also highlight how important it is to plan for growth from day one. Tonight, we are talking to entrepreneurs, business owners, and thought leaders who have grown their business and also help others to scale and grow their business as well. Welcome to the Creative Monday Discussion Show. I am your host, Mervin Budram, and we are creatives transforming lives. Welcome back to the Creative Monday Discussion Show. I'm your host, Mervin Budram, and I'll be with you for the next hour. We are really thankful and really excited that you've chosen to make this show your show and you're spending this evening with us. So I want to encourage you guys to go ahead and invite some friends, share this link, and we want to also know where you're tuned in from. So use the comment section below, put your flags, should give some shout outs. We want to hear from you. We want to know where you're tuned in from. And also you can also use that comment section to submit your questions and join the conversation. If you are tuning on TNC, I want to say welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you guys with us this evening. I want to thank you again for tuning in to the Creative Monday Discussion Show every Monday night at 7 p.m. If you want to be a part of the conversation and you're tuned in on TNC, you can also WhatsApp us. That's 623-7898, and just submit your comments and questions and join the conversation. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Task Belize Limited, a strategic marketing and growing digital innovation firm here in Belize. They help you to tell your story, reach more people, and close more sales.
People daily seek to connect to something meaningful, something eternal, something they can invest their time, energy, and money into.
Make a connection to Task Belize for all the graphic designs and advertising needs. Connect to Task Belize for all your web designs and branding needs.
Connect to Task Belize. We use graphic art, videos, websites, and social platforms to connect businesses, organizations, and individuals to what's most valuable, people. If you're imagining your information on the web, on a poster or video, Task will make it happen. So go ahead and plan your wedding. We'll capture it for you. Document the things you want to remember, and we'll compile it for you. Write your songs, and we'll record you. Don't stop there. Go bigger. Paint it, and we'll billboard it. Brochure it, banner it, and postcard it. Business card, bookmark, and catalog it. If it sounds like too much, business package it. Because we do that too, and we've got you. We are committed in heart and mind. And what we do it well.
Make a connection to Task Belize for all the graphic designs and advertising needs. Connect to Task Belize for all your web designs and branding needs.
And again, welcome back. Thank you again for tuning in. Guys, tonight is all about business growth strategies and tactics. And if you are an entrepreneur, you know of an entrepreneur or business owner, I want to invite you guys to have them join this discussion this evening. Share it with your friends. Tell them, hey, this is an opportunity to get some insights, to get some tips and how to scale your business, different marketing strategies. I'm very excited by tonight's panel of guests. We will be joined from two guests from Trinidad and Tobago, as well as right here from Belize. And tonight we're going to just dive in and get to know their story. Also get to know how they went from the beginning phase to kind of having a successful business that they're running and operating today. Our first guest for this evening hails all the way from Trinidad and Tobago, and I recently met her last week. Actually, got to read about what she's doing, and then also we got to have an awesome conversation last week. And so it's my pleasure to introduce you guys to Miss Carla Williams Johnson from Trinidad. Can we get Miss Carla on the screen? Good evening, Miss Carla. How are you doing this evening?
I am good. How are you?
I am great. I love your energy, and I just want to say that that's the first thing I wanted to kind of just highlight from when we had the conversation last week. You had energy on top of energy, and we were talking, and I love soca. You're from the soca, I would say the soca capital in the Caribbean, and so I see you're bringing that level of energy even to the discussion tonight. So, how are you doing this evening? How's things over in Trini?
Oh, it's great. We had some terrible weather over the last couple of days, but we're actually very good now. It's actually quite hot tonight. It's actually 9 p.m. here in Trinidad. It's very warm tonight, but it's all good. It's all good.
Awesome. Well, I just want to, before we even hop into questions, I want to again give some shout out to some of those tuned in. We have Naturally Belize coconut products. Good friend of mine, doing great things with her product here in Belize. I see we have Miss Cecile Williams from San Antonio in the house, and so I just want to say, guys, thank you guys so much for making this show your show. So, Miss Carla, tell me a little bit about who you are and just summarize the background. What's your story?
Well, guys, good night again from Trinidad and Tobago. I am Carla Williams Johnson, and I help business owners increase their visibility through the creative uses of media. And this is not just social media, guys. This is traditional media through PR and publicity as well. And one of the things I realized, especially with what's going on in the world, the digital space is just becoming so, it's just overrun with all of the messages and everything. And really and truly, you want something that's going to help you step up and stand out in front of your customers and ahead of your competition. And that's where PR and publicity comes into play.
Yeah.
But before we get into all of that, my humble beginnings came right here in Trinidad and Tobago. I've worked in the advertising industry for almost, I'm going to age myself here, right? So about 17 years. I've worked in the advertising industry, worked with brands, Coca-Cola, Unilever, Nestle, a lot of local and international brands as well. And one day, I just decided it was time. And the Lord decided it was time as well, because the day I decided it was time to step out on my own, I got into the office. I was working corporate and I got retrenched that exact same morning. So
let me put a pin there. It's interesting, guys, how hardships, many times the hardships and the backlash that we get in life is actually the catalyst that we need to step out into the next arena that we're supposed to step out into, right? And so I love that, because that's been a very consistent story, and I'm just pulling that out for you guys, because we are in a time in the world where things are hard, right? We're in a time right now where we're getting hit hard, and so this is such a great opportunity to see innovation birth, and also to see us step into to where we want to do. So, Ms. Carla, you were telling me last week how you've always been naturally good at kind of like just knowing what to do. You were that person in the room that had these ideas and these opinions, and then that's kind of how things kind of birth for you. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, every time we had a brainstorming session, that's what we call it in the agency, everyone had to have Carla in the room, because Carla brought the ideas. Carla brought the innovation. Carla brought the out of the box. And to be very honest, I didn't think that was anything special. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, I thought everyone had that gift, but apparently it was just something in me that everyone else saw. And everyone said, you know what, Carla, you need to open your own company. You're so good. You're very good at knowing what to do and telling people where to go and how to promote themselves, right? So fast forward, again, 17 years later, I'm here helping clients do the same thing. I am the person that understands where marketing is concerned. Every single thing has to work together. It's literally like a puzzle, and everything has to fit together, which is why one strategy for one business is not going to work for the other. And I'm always the person telling you, okay, you need to do this. You need to put yourself out there. You need to include this. You need to, talk this way, or change this content, or change this strategy. And every single time I've told persons to that, you actually see the aha in their mind. Like, I didn't think of that. And then when they do it, they get the results immediately. That's what I love.
You know, we have different businesses and entrepreneurs in different levels. We have startups. We have those who have been in business for a while. We have those who have established a legacy with their company. what would you say from your own journey are some of the things that's consistent, regardless of whether you're in the beginning stage, you've been in it for a while, and now or even you've been going for years? Like, what are some of those essential things that you've identified? I know you've been talking about the advertising and marketing space. What are some of those key essential that should be in the ingredients when you're putting the business together and thinking about marketing, thinking about advertising?
I think first and foremost, a lot of people they skip the research step. Like you need to know if there's a market for what it is that you're going to promote. And if there is a market, where is this market? It may be in your own country, or you know what, it may be outside of your country, and that's okay as well. And then you need to look at what is the strategy. Too many people look at the tactics. And when I say tactics, I need to open a social media page, or I need to do this, or I need to do that, without trying to figure out, okay, I need a strategy first. This is my overall goal, and these are the tools that I'm going to use to get there. And what I realize is a lot of people that use social media, they get stuck with trying to figure out, what do I post? And the reason for that is there's no strategy, there's no plan, there's no overall goal. So definitely take 2 steps back. Research, make sure there's a market for your product or service, and then what is the strategy? What is the overall goal? What is the long-term plan? And then start to take the steps to get there.
Awesome. So let's rewind a little bit. People might be out there saying, man, here you are, you're going for it, you're vibrant, you're energetic, you obviously know what you're doing, you're talking the right language, you're an expert. But how about me? I'm just getting going. Like, what are some of the challenges that you face? What are some of the challenges that kind of got in your way? And so I think we were talking about even some of those mental battles in the earlier stage, kind of getting out of your own self, getting out of your mind, getting out of yourself. So tell me, in the beginning stage, what were some of the barriers that you had to overcome, and how did you overcome those barriers?
Well, to be very honest with you, I honestly felt like coming from the Caribbean was a hindrance to me. I felt my gender was a hindrance to me. I actually heard people tell me, you are in the wrong industry for the person that you are. And I was even actually told that I needed to get someone who was quote unquote light skinned to be the face of my company. And that could take a major blow to anyone, no matter how confident they are. That can take a major blow. But overall, you have to know what it is that you want. There will always be people who will never want you to succeed, or would want you to succeed only in as much as you don't succeed more than them, right? You just have to keep going. And in spite of all of that, it was really a lot of, blocking out the naysayers and really pushing forward and really getting focused. That got me to where I am at this point. If I had listened to these people, I would not be in Forbes today. I would not be in Huffington Post today. I will not be here today talking to you right now if I had listened to these people. And it happens, guys. It happens. But you just have to keep going and keep pushing forward and lean on someone for help. I mean, we all started at zero. That's a term I heard long ago. We all started somewhere. And you just need to look at the people who have gone through what it is that you're going through now and who have made it, and ask for help. Ask them, how did you do it? And let them walk you through the exact steps. And I can tell you, for me, those exact steps were ignoring the haters.
That's good. Okay, so right now you're a successful entrepreneur, you're a marketer, you're helping out a business. Your life sounds very busy and compact. I've been watching some of your posts, and it's every day something's rolling out. You're speaking here, you're tuning in there. So walk me through what a typical day looks like for you, from the morning to the evening. What does a typical day look like for you?
Okay, so I should warn all your viewers, guys, I'm a mom, I'm a mother. My daughter is 20, my son is 2. Don't ask me why. And sometimes the big one gets on like the little one, and the little one gets on like the big one. So that's my life right there. So a typical day is, before I go to bed, I have to do my to-do list. I can't wait till the morning. I have to write every single thing down. And usually for me, when it's quiet, that's when I get the most ideas. So I have to sleep with a notepad next to my bed. When I get up in the morning, when it's all quiet, I have to prepare my mind. And with that, I meditate and I journal without fail. The days that I don't do that, I am no good to myself. For all of you guys who are wondering, like, what do I use? There's an app I use called Happy Not Perfect. It is fabulous, and you can journal within the app. It's really great. And then I get started on my day once I make my to-do list the night before I get started. And sometimes I may have the 3 most important things that I want to do for the day, but for some reason I only get 1 or 2 done. I consider that a successful day, considering my life. I consider that a very successful day. So guys, it's all about taking things one step at a time. I know a lot of you have homeschooling to deal with, and have all of these other things that you have to deal with right now with what's going on in the world, but you just have to figure out what works for you.
That's good. Can you just, as we're wrapping up, can you repeat the name of that app that you use? Happy?
Oh, it's Happy Not Perfect.
Happy Not Perfect. I love that. I love that. Great resource, and we're going to look that up and post that as well on the website for you guys to use as a tool to help manage your day, because that's what we want to. We want to provide resources and tools for you guys as well. Well, Carla, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're not done with you as yet, audience. We're not done with Miss Carla as yet. We're going to bring her back on. We just have some other guests as well that we want to get on and get some insights from them. So thank you so much for that quick intro to who you are. And guys, what we're going to do actually later on, we're going to have a Q&A time, a panel discussion time just around business growth and tactics and strategies. And we're going to have all our guests share their experience and their story and how they did that, right? And so thank you again, Miss Carla.
You're welcome.
So we're going to have up next, this is a guest I'm really excited to introduce as well. I had an extensive discussion with her last week, and I'll be real with you. I was humbled. I just sat there listening, and I learned so much just from hearing her story and her journey. We won't be able to dive into the full depth of all of it tonight, but we're going to have her back. We're launching some new products. We're actually launching a podcast, and she is going to be definitely one of the guests on our podcast where you can hear a more in-depth dialogue that I had with her. But it's a pleasure to introduce to you guys tonight Miss Willana Oldan. She is, for many of us, you guys know her as Hot Mama. She her product and what she's been doing has had far reach. And even when I had a discussion with her, my eyes opened to the length and the depth and the reach that they've had through their business. And so I just want to welcome Miss Willana. Good evening. How are you doing? It's just a pleasure to have you with us tonight.
Good evening, Mervin, and thank you very much for the invitation. So excited to be here and to share what I know.
Awesome. Well, just for those who might not know who you are, because there's going to be other people who come on and watch later on. Tell us a little bit about who you are, kind of what's your backstory, and then how did you end up where you're at now and doing what you're doing now?
I'll be happy to. Mervin, first of all, you have to understand that I'm a native-born Belizean, born and raised in Belize City, moved away, lived in many different places. When I met my husband, Howard, the very first thing he said to me, I want to move back to Belize. And my dream has always been to do something in food processing. And so the situation just presented itself, I guess, because once you have a dream, it's just a matter of following through with it.
Yeah.
But we came to Belize with the intentions of doing finished goods, but actually ended up doing fresh shipments into the U.S. And we spent a phenomenal amount of time going around, meeting with the farmers and discussing with them and building the business. And you could say our first year, we shipped 250,000 fresh peppers into the U.S. and Canada. That was pretty amazing.
That's awesome, yes.
But we ventured eventually into finished goods. From the fresh business, we learned how to make pepper mash. We did dried and whole dried and powder. And our first product, which is the habanero pepper jelly, was actually a recipe given to me by an aunt that I met for the first time when I got married. And she has been my muse. She was so inspirational to me. And every time I went to visit her, there was always something delicious coming from her house. And but she introduced us to the pepper jelly. We fell in love with it. And so that was really and truly the first product that we started out with. But it was kind of crazy, but exciting and very fast paced. But the idea was to do finished goods. And so we eventually ventured into making sauces, different kinds of sauces, the mango sauce, the sweet sauce. And today, because of COVID, we've pivoted and we've started adding some additional new and exciting products, like, for instance, our naturally flavored nectars, lemongrass, ginger, orange, and allspice. Everybody's falling in love with that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
yeah, that's really amazing. So what I love that, and one of the things that when we were talking this last week, and you alluded to it, how when you have a dream and a passion, how things just start to click and open up. And I love how you guys just kind of, as you step forward, doors started to open and you went with it. So what I wanted to ask you, how did you know what was those right opportunities to capitalize on and the ones to kind of just leave and let them pass by?
Gosh, that's I don't know how to explain that. But it's very interesting. You start to meet people and you start to talk to people, and you say, "Oh, I'm interested in doing this," and they go, oh, "Wow, that's a really great idea." And they go, oh, "Wait a minute. Okay, maybe it is a good idea."
Yeah.
So you're not really sure at first, but then when everybody starts to validate, what you're doing, then you realize, okay, maybe I'm onto something. And way back when, before I even understood where I was going, I went to I took a course with Texas A&M. And it was a better process course. And back then, everybody was saying, "Oh, peppers is a thing. It's going to keep growing, and everything is going to have peppers in it." And I was like, "Okay, I don't know, whatever, But it has led me to today. And what I got so excited about is that people look at peppers as being something that's hot.
Yeah.
But I look at peppers as the most interesting product because there's so much you can do with it. Mm-hmm. You have basically two types of palates. Those that like salty, vinegary type of products. And then there's the other that like it sweet. And I happen to be the one that likes the sweet stuff. My husband likes it salty. And so I realized very quickly that it was important to come up with products to cater to the different flavor profiles. And so I was always talking about, putting peppers in ice cream, mixing it with chocolate, mixing it with ketchup. I mean, it was all these things. I was thinking, okay, first of all, let's try and see what it's going to be like having peppers in it, And some of the products were okay, but some really took off. And so today we still have a list that we refer to that sits on the back burner, and we say, okay, let's pull this one out. Let's look at it. Let's, do the research. Let's, make a few batches. Let's understand it. And then, of course, we offer it into the gift shop. So as tourists or visitors come in, they're able to try firsthand some of our ideas. And then those feedbacks helps generate whether we're going to proceed and, go further with it, or whether we're going to say, okay, let's just leave it in the gift shop.
Yeah, it's good. When we spoke, and I'm asking these questions because there's several, especially right now in this COVID time, there's a lot of new products that's hitting the market. There's a lot of entrepreneurs stepping out with, I know naturally Billy's Coconut, they have their health products with their hair products, skin products, all these different products going. And I know the question a lot of us have, okay, how do I move my product and get it out there to the world? And I know last time we were talking, you said, you were at several shows and having to kind of display these products to the show. How did that happen? And now I'm putting two questions together. How did that happen? And then also now, in light of COVID and the virtual reality, how is that happening? How are you getting your product the maximum exposure for people to try it and then get it on the shelf?
Well, that's very interesting that you should say that, because over the years I have been to several shows, small ones and big ones.
Yeah.
And, the logistics is always a challenge, and it's very costly when you're moving small amounts of product. It's very costly to move it from here to there. And then there's the whole preparation that is necessary, making sure you have all the right papers, the legal documents to bring that product into the country that you're going to. And then, all the advertising material, and of course the giveaways, and then, the hotel, and and you just go on and on. And just gone forever. And then you get to the show, and there's like a jillion people there. And you're trying to figure out, okay, who's going to be the right person for me to proceed with. And it gets a little bit crazy sometimes, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And what I have found today, I've been to a couple of virtual shows since COVID. And I like it. I like it because I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to ship products anywhere. I, do all my work right there on the computer. And then I'm able to do more one-on-one with potential buyers. And even though that time is usually just like 15 or 20 minutes, but that's enough to establish whether you want to proceed further with another Zoom meeting at a later date when he or she has more time, as well as yourself, or whether you're going to say, okay, I'm just going to send you some information and move on. Yeah. But, the cost is different, and, the expectations is much better. And so the idea is to start thinking along those lines, because unfortunately COVID just came in and has made a major change for everybody. Yeah. And so no more is it, okay, let's travel, to a show. It's more like, let's get on the computer and see how we can generate some business first. Yeah. Before you start looking at the traveling. So I actually prefer the virtual. I think it's a great way of doing business.
I agree, and one of the things you said last week, which I love, it weeds out it's a good weeding process. It weeds out the noise. It weeds out those who aren't really serious, and then you can really find those who really will grab your product and kind of send them a product and ship it over to them and know that they're genuinely interested. Versus you go to a show and you meet 100 people, but out of that 100 people, you might get one bite,
Maybe.
Maybe.
And Mervin, the thing that's challenging about these shows is that everybody that comes to booth is looking, okay, what do you have to give away? Okay. Yeah. Well, are you interested in buying something? Yeah. Are you just here to pick up samples, or are you here to discuss business? Yeah. So, it's a different concept, but I think for me, it's a much better way to go about things.
In closing, a question came into you, and so I want to get that question on. How did you get to participate in the show expos, and was it by invitation or research and applying to participate?
Listen, you need to be a part of the chamber. You need to be tied in with Bell Trade. Yeah. You need, these are the people that know what's going on, and they are usually the ones that get approached first. Yeah. About, when shows are coming out. Try and get with other individuals who are attending shows and said, hey, just ask them, how do you get into onto the mailing list? This is not a situation where you can sit back and wait for it to come to you. You do need to be very active and go after it. But for me, it was just a matter of starting to talk to people and giving my business cards out and saying, I'm interested in doing this, I'm interested in doing that, this is what I'm doing, and start talking to people about what it is that you have And you'll be amazed at who's interested in learning more about you and what you have to offer.
That's good.
And I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, but just keep at it. And, you know, before you know it, your name gets on the list. And then next thing you start getting invitations and, you know, but without a doubt, work with the entities like in Belize, I mean, Beltrade, work with the chamber, because they are usually the first step for anything when something is going to happen.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you so much, Miss Milana, and we're not done with you as yet. We're going to bring you back on for the Q&A time. And guys, keep bringing those questions, keep submitting them in the comment section. And again, if you know someone that should be tuned in to hear this, you want to get them on, invite them, share the link with them. So thank you again, Ms. Milana. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, and I'm looking forward to the Q&A time with you later on.
Sure, absolutely.
Awesome. So guys, we're going to move right along. We have one more guest that we're going to bring back. She is not a stranger to the show. She was with us in the earlier episode this season, and we realized that the content and the wealth of knowledge and information she had, we had to bring her back. And so we want to bring up Miss Debbie Jolie from Trinidad, representing Trinidad again twice in the house tonight. We want to get her in, and we want to get some fresh insights from her. Hi, Debbie. How are you doing this evening?
I am great. How are you?
I am doing splendid. I'm very excited. I'm talking about what I love to talk about, which is business and growing business, and just really helping entrepreneurs go to the next level in their entrepreneurial journey, right?
Yes.
So it's great to have you with us tonight. I know last we had you in, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm losing track of time here. And we introduced you to Belize. And so if you guys want to learn about Miss Debbie and more in that introduction, you can go watch the previous episode. We won't go into that. Actually, what I want to go into with her is, firstly, since we met last time, what's been going on with you? And then from there, we're going to jump into some other strategy and business growth related questions.
What's been happening? I've been working hard, getting some new clients, working in now, going to work very soon with a financial firm, which is great. And that's what I love, the idea that I'm getting to expand and to ready to create strategies for different types of companies. Yes.
Very nice. I've been seeing a lot more content coming out from you, even on the social media space. I love the videos and just the advice that you've been dropping. And I want to encourage everyone, if you're looking for strategy, all the individuals that we are presenting on the show, you can go look them up and grab strategies from them, reach out to them and learn from them. Miss Debbie, you are talking about strategies. You're talking to business, helping them grow. What would you say is the first thing you normally present to them when you're meeting with them? What are the first things that they need to look at in terms of moving their business forward?
One of the first things I ask firms to do is some I think called a sales and marketing audit, because I think once you're in business already, you need to kind of have a look at what is happening with your company, the good and the bad, and then you can refine and develop very key strategies to help you move forward. So if a company is a year old or 50 years old, they need to do an audit and see what's happening. That's good.
You know, I'll speak from myself. When I got my business going, I was so passionate. I was just running, and you know, I'm one of those guys who just started to run. And I didn't stop long enough to look at certain aspects that I needed to look at.
Me too.
So, and that's what I wanted to say. How do you recommend? How do you curve? What are some of the tips to kind of curve into, okay, we need to have a strategy, we need to kind of know what's been going on? You said we need to do an audit. Like, what are some of the things that you need to start to look at to know it's time to do that?
All right, so it really depends. Again, I think for me, what occurred is that I had hit a brick wall and I didn't see movement at all in my company. I think for a lot of older companies, they also see maybe their market share has deteriorated, or their sales have plateaued for a while, or they're getting certain types of comments about their product now, and therefore this is a time to kind of look at what is happening. I actually think it is something that companies should do every year, which is really look at what is happening. But Carla said something in the beginning, and I think a lot of Caribbean firms lack, which is doing research.
It's good. It's good. And that is so true. And so, okay, I got to do my research. Where do I start? And I'm saying that question because that's a question my wife put to me today. And this was on something else. We were talking about an area that we wanted to start work on in our health. And we're online. There's so much information. There's a lot of statics and a lot of information out there. How do we streamline and find that right source? So where do you start?
Where do I start? I think it depends. Again, it depends on really what you're trying to find a solution for. So as you mentioned, you might be looking for something to improve your health, and you can begin by looking at online and seeing what really exists. In terms of what happened to me when I hit a brick wall, persons had always mentioned to look for a coach. And at the time, I said, maybe even the best of us who I've had so much experience in corporate career. I started my company, but something is still not working. Yeah. And so I had researched a lot of coaches. And then I got one that was familiar and that I thought would work for me, had a Caribbean background, expanded, and as Carla had mentioned as well, they share a similar journey, and therefore you can look at them and they can relate to where you want to be.
That's very good. That's very good. A question came in because I mentioned, it says, can you share your business page names, please? So yeah. That's from Michelle Riveros, and I know she's going to be contacting you.
It's very easy. Just look for Debbie Jolie. You could look for the logo behind me. I also use the tagline, the Stammering Communicator, and I am on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. You could find me.
All right. So do you, this is a question that actually came in earlier, and I actually wanted to ask you this question. Do you use, I don't like the word use, do you partner, I would say, with existing clients to help spread your brand and your name? And if you do that, how do you go about doing that?
I do it in a very limited way. It really depends on the synergy you want with particular clienteles. Right now, I'm working with a client. Once I think that you do not have any sort of competing elements, I think you just have to see where there is a synergy. But networking and partnership is one of the fastest ways to grow. They benefit from your audience, you benefit from theirs. But I think you have to approach it in a very strategic way and make sure that you all are aligned in terms of what you want to achieve.
Very nice, very nice. All right, so what we're going to do, guys, we want to take a quick break. And then when we get back, we're going to continue the discussion with Miss Debbie. And then we're also going to bring on the other guests. As you can see, we've kind of already switched gears into the growth strategy side of things and the tactics side of things. And so the questions are getting very specific and very direct. We have a list of questions that came in before. And we also want you as a guest, if there's things you want to know and things you want to hear from our guests and our panelists, feel free to use our comment section. Again, if you are watching on television, you can WhatsApp us at 623-7898. We can get those questions in as well. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to have our panelists with us.
People daily seek to connect to something meaningful, something eternal, something they can invest their time, energy, and money into.
Make a connection to Transparency for all the graphic designs and advertising needs. Connect to Transparency for all the web designs and branding needs.
Connect to Task Belize. We use graphic art, videos, websites, and social platforms to connect businesses, organizations, and individuals to what's most valuable, people. If you're imagining your information on the web, on a poster or video, TAS will make it happen. So go ahead and plan your wedding. We'll capture it for you. Document the things you want to remember, and we'll compile it for you. Write your songs, and we'll record you. Don't stop there. Go bigger. Paint it, and we'll billboard it. Brochure it, banner it, and postcard it. Business card, bookmark, and catalog it. If it sounds like too much, business package it. Because we do that too, and we've got you. We are committed in heart and mind. And what we do it well.
Make a connection to Transparency for all the graphic designs and advertising needs. Connect to Transparency for all the web designs and branding needs.
Welcome back to the Creative Monday Discussion Show. I'm your host, Mervin Budram, and it's a pleasure being with you. We have all our guests with us this evening, and we're going to jump in and go into some Q&A. And I just wanted to mention as well, while if you're not talking, if you can mute your mic for when you're not talking so that we don't get an echo loop. And then when you're speaking, then you can unmute it and go ahead and speak. So we're doing the Brady Bunch tonight. We have all of us on the screen, and we should sing the team song, right? But we want to hop right in, when it comes to growing our business, and a lot of us, we're a lot of business owners. We are working in the business, but we're also thinking about, okay, how can I take things to the next level? How can I grow my business? How can I reach that target audience? What I wanted to start to ask you by asking and throwing out there, and any one of you can start answer, is what are some of the first things that you think about and you set in place when it comes to growing your business and moving it forward? Should I call someone? Let's start with my right up, Miss Debbie.
All right. I think this is something I learned about 3 years ago, and I think it's absolutely true. And I saw it during COVID as well. Companies, and I agree with this, do a number of things, integrated things. I think you always need to focus on the client, and you always need to focus on selling. And I say that all the time. Focus on your customer, focus on selling, have strong sales targets, focus on where I'm going to get my next customer. Especially if you're now starting up, I think you go crazy and, I need a website, and I need new uniforms, and I need a logo, and I need these things. Really, you need customers. Yeah. And as you get those customers and you begin to expand, you can begin to do those things. So always focus on selling the next customer. Where is that customer coming from?
I love that. Ms. Villana?
I agree with Debbie. I think she's absolutely right. The most important thing is to focus on the sales, to bring the money in. I mean, it's so easy to get totally distracted and be all over the place. But then at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, is this going to make me any money? Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, then you need to focus where it needs to happen.
Ms. Carla?
I'm definitely going to agree with the other two panelists, but I would like to also add focusing on building relationships is also very important. As Debbie mentioned, the pandemic has made things such that people are looking for people to trust, to spend their money. They're looking for people that they can really believe in, and forming those strong relationships, even using the online space to do so, really helps make the sales process a lot easier. So in addition to sales, I definitely would recommend forming relationships and really building that relationships with your customers and also with your partners.
I love that. And springboarding off that, how can we do that? What do you guys recommend that a business do to build trust online? Because right now, like, okay, for me, I hate shopping online because I like to try the clothes on. I like to make sure it fits. I don't do. I would read all these sign this measurement and you still get it wrong sometimes. It depends on the brand. XL might be different for this brand or that brand. So there's that tangible feel you want to get to touch it. How do we do that in this climate that we're currently in? What are some of the things that you would suggest that we do as businesses to help our customers and our clients build trust, build loyalty with us? Any one of us can take it.
If I may go. Okay, no, go ahead. I'll wait.
Thank you. It's very important to bring that personal touch, into the picture. Having a good story and, reaching out and having that personal touch. One of the most frustrating things is when you're dealing with a company and you feel as though you're just dealing with a machine and you're not getting the right answers. And if your customers write and ask you a question, try and get a little involved with them and learn more about them and, share with them. And having experiences helps too, because they want to realize that there's an actual human being on the other side that cares about them. For us, we don't have an e-commerce platform per se. We deal with our customers on a one-on-one basis. So they're writing to us and we go into detail with them. Sometimes we get on the phone with them, but that also helps to build, that good relationship that you need to move forward with. If you're just going to shoot off a generic email to somebody, they might go, I'm not feeling it, so let me move on. So we try to put a little bit more into our emails. And of course, the most important thing is to be courteous and nice and friendly at all times. I mean, we always make sure that we say all the right thing. We thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Here's as much information as I can write. If you have any questions, that sort of thing helps people, and it helps them to say, you know what, even though I went over there, but I like the response I'm getting from them. So that also helps to build that clientele that you need.
It's good. Very good. Miss Carla, you were going to say?
She took the words right out of my mouth. I was all about sharing stories and, right now there's so many people dealing with stuff online. So you really have to be very empathetic with the types of content that you put online and stuff like that. But I also want to go just one step further. In addition to the online space, find ways to connect with them offline as well. Like, what can you do? Can you send a gift or a package, an email? People love to receive things, physical things, versus an email. PR and publicity, I can say for myself, that has worked really well, because it's one thing to be posting online all the time, but I mean, nothing really gives you that credibility than when you have a reputable media house or reputable publication say, hey, I'm featuring this person, I'm talking to this person, right? And that kind of puts you in a total different category. People always sit up and listen when I tell them I've been in Forbes. Sometimes I forget to tell them that I won an award, but once I do, people are like, oh my God, I need to listen to this person more. Yeah. Clearly they know what they're saying. So definitely, and people think PR and publicity is very hard to get. It's really not. It's just a matter of just sending an email and saying, hey, I'd love what you're doing. Would you feature me? Literally, it's as simple as that.
Yeah. And before Miss Debbie gives her insight, I want to, for you, Carla, I want to ask this because a lot of, I'll say from here in Belize, I'm not sure what it's like in other regions, but a lot of Belizeans won't do that because we don't want to toot our own horns. So we take mindset, into business that, hey, I don't want to put myself out there because I don't want to be prideful or I don't want to be showing myself off. And so a lot of, I mean, even right now, you put bring a camera in front of most people and they shy away. So what are some of the things that you think about to overcome that, so that you can confidently present your best you when you're out there in the world?
Yeah, that's definitely a West Indian thing. That's just not in Belize. And what I say to that is, at the end of the day, just like marketing your business, people need to know that you're around. People need to know that you have products and services that they need. And PR and publicity is just one of those ways to let them know that, hey, you're here to help. And at the end of the day, if people don't know you exist, then they can't reach out to you. So it's not about quote unquote tooting your own horn. It's about letting people know that you are around and you are willing to help them with
That's good.
whatever it is that they need.
That's good. Miss Debbie?
I always say exactly what you do offline, you have to mimic online. So the way in which that you would build a relationship, you would spend time, you have to do the same thing online. If you want to get the results, you have to be engaging, you have to respond, you have to persons have to feel that they know you and they understand. So sharing your story works well. When I started to really share my story, things changed for me because I think I became more relatable. So I believe in that. And Carla is right. A validation from a local newspaper, international publication saying you are the best at what you do sells you. So good PR really helps to build that know, like, and trust.
But I don't know my story, and I'm putting scenarios out there that typical feelings and thoughts that business owners or startups have. I don't really know my story. Like, how do I find my story? What is unique about me, and how do I capitalize on that and put that out there? And what would you guys say to someone who's thinking that kind of way?
I think for me, I think everyone knows what their story is. They just don't think that their story is that important.
That's good.
Yeah, they just think that, oh, well, it's no big deal, until they actually say it and people are like, oh my God, this is a big deal. Why are you not saying more of this? Right?
It's good.
So I would encourage anyone, even if you think it's, it's just something that happened to you, you need to share it, right? You don't know how your words can really motivate the person on the other end who's listening to get up and move, to get into action, to do what you need to do. There are people struggling right now, struggling mentally, struggling in their business, struggling with motherhood. They're struggling with all different things. And you just coming and showing up and saying, hey, I've gone through this, and this is how I came out on the other side, would just be the thing that would get them to just move forward.
It's good. Love that. Anyone else want to add to that?
I just agree. Ditto. Everyone does know their story. They do know what makes them or what separates them from everyone else. They are fearful. And I think you need to be brave, and you need to share. And the more you share, the fact that you actually get more positive response than negative response. So be willing to share, and you'll see a drastic change in the way that your clients relate to you.
Very good. Very good. So one of the question that came in is, am I killing my business by not being or incorporating social media?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with what your goals are, where you want to go. Yeah. I mean, have you sat down and thought about where you want to be a year from now, 5 years from now? Once you understand that and you start figuring that out, then you need to say, okay, well, how am I going to get there? There's many different ways of getting there, but if you're just looking at your business being locally, there's ways around it, but you don't always have to follow along the same trend. But in the end, it comes back to, where do you want to be 5 years from now? What are you hoping to achieve?
It's good. Any other input on that?
I mean, I totally agree with that. I mean, it all comes down to strategy and how does social media fit into your strategy? Someone else will be quick to say, yes, oh my God, you need to be on social media, but you need to take a step back. Why do I need to be on social media? How am I going to use social media? How is it going to get me to reach wherever it is I need to go? How is it going to get me to my financial goal? Right? So it really does come back down to strategy. It's a very open-ended question because we don't know what's going on or anything, but I would say take a step back and look and see how does it fit into your overall strategy. And if it doesn't, then
yeah. Yeah. And I think what I would add to that, and this is from my experience, I've gone through so many different social media platforms over my lifespan already. Over a short time, you go from High Five to High Five, MySpace, all these, there's so many things, but what has been consistent across each one is an email address. And so the importance of building a mailing list and utilizing a mailing list, and you have that's direct contact into your clients space every day. And what I've added to that of recently is also a text list, a phone number list, your contact list, because every app now is needing some phone number to authenticate it or verify it. And so the importance of having your contact list and building your contact list, building your mailing list, is super important. We have 5 more minutes to go, and so we're winding down. And so what we want to do, again, if there's anyone out there who have questions that you want to throw out to our guests, this is the time to start get those questions in as well. And as we continue the discussion, what I want to ask is 2 things. One, we talked some about customer loyalty, but how can you, and I think Ms. Villana can speak to this as well, having to work with a big team with production, how do you translate that customer care and that customer loyalty mindset into your team so that it replicates? It's not just you doing it, but your entire team is doing that. What are some of the things that you've done? And any one of us can answer this, but I'm asking specifically Ms. Villana because she's done a lot of production and has worked with, I believe, a big team on this.
Thank you, Marvin. Sometimes it's all in the way you present the concept to your staff. It's very important that you get them on board with you, but sometimes you're going to have people who are just not there. And they don't really care, And so what I have done in the past is, we have our little get-togethers and we talk about things, and then I always try to tell the story in a way that includes them, as if it's happening to them, so that they understand it. Because sometimes people see things differently. And so the idea is to try to get them to see a certain way, because with them having seeing it a certain way, then their attitude is going to be a certain way. And you want them to be in the right frame of mind every time they're working for you or producing. But I always try to push them even further and say, this is not just about while you're here. It should be also when you are at home or when you're out on the street. You should have this certain particular attitude. And so we always have this group meetings where we start talking about life and what's going on. And I always try to make sure that they understand that everything that they do here and now makes a difference in the future. If you're going to do bad products, then it's going to come back to bite you later on, right? In a way that you're going to lose your job, type thing. But, if they understand more about that whole concept, why it's so important. So we spend a lot of time doing training because it's important for everybody to understand what the goal is, where we're going, and what it's going to take for us to get there. And like I said, sometimes you come in with the wrong mindset, and so you have to work with them to change that. And if it doesn't happen, then it's like, I'm sorry, out the door for you, because it becomes very disruptive for the other staff. You have that one individual that's fighting you and not wanting to comply. And I always said, listen, guys, I don't know how long you're going to be here. You might be here for a long time or not. But the point is that when you leave out of here, I want you to leave with some skills.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to go and do anything because you have learned from here.
Very good.
So, you know, if you don't take the time to learn what you're supposed to learn, then when you go up there, you won't be able to do it.
Very good.
So-
Love it. Awesome. We have guys, we have half a minute left. So closing thoughts. If we can make it brief, closing thoughts so that we can all get some input before we close. What do you want to leave us with, Miss Debbie?
Oh, as I said before, if you want to really grow your business, you really need to focus, zone in on your clients, zone in on their needs and wants, and try to satisfy that. Not what you want to do, but what they are saying they need and want.
Very good. Miss Carla?
Definitely, I would say don't think you have to do this alone. Somehow, when we got into entrepreneurship, someone said that we needed to do this alone. No, ask for help, right? Don't be prideful. Don't think that you don't need it. You really do. Ask for help from someone who can truly help you get to where you need to go.
Very good. Miss Olana?
Well, absolutely. Don't be afraid. Dream big, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Love it. Love it. Well, I want to thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in on TNC as well as online YouTube as well as Facebook. We're going to see you guys next week. Same time, same place right here. Thank you, guys. We love you. God bless. Take care.